It's the loudest silence in the world. One moment, you're in a flow of blue bubbles, shared secrets, and the electricity of a new connection. The next, you're staring at a read receipt that has effectively become a tombstone. We call it ghosting. In the digital age, we've treated it as a modern inconvenience, a punchline for dating apps. But psychologically, it is a profound act of emotional avoidance. If you've been ghosted, your brain treats that silence exactly like physical pain. But if you are the ghoster, that silence is your armor. Today, we're looking at why people choose to vanish, the avoidant trap, and why the silence says everything about their emotional capacity and absolutely nothing about your worth. To understand the ghoster, we have to stop looking at the rejection and start looking at the incapacity. Ghosting isn't a statement about your desirability. It is a confession of the ghoster's emotional limits. It is the ultimate emergency exit for those who lack emotional sovereignty, the ability to stand in the heat of someone else's disappointment without melting. They don't vanish because they don't care about you. They vanish because they care too much about escaping the version of themselves that feels guilty, awkward, or pressured. They aren't leaving you. They are fleeing from a difficult conversation they aren't equipped to have. Most chronic ghosting is driven by an avoidant attachment style. For these individuals, intimacy is a double-edged sword. They want connection, but as soon as it becomes real or requires vulnerability, it feels like a threat to their independence. When a relationship reaches a point where a talk is needed, whether it's to deepen the bond or end it, the avoidant brain triggers a flight response. Ghosting allows them to bypass the emotional friction of a breakup. They choose the vacuum of silence because it requires zero accountability and preserves their illusion of being a nice person who just got busy. Digital platforms have created what psychologists call micro-dehumanization. When we interact through screens, our mirror neurons, the brain cells responsible for empathy, don't fire at full capacity. We have turned humans into profiles and profiles into products. In this swipe culture economy, the ghoster begins to view the other person as a content stream they can simply unsubscribe from. By removing the physical presence of the other person, they remove the psychological weight of the rejection. They aren't hurting a human being, they're just closing a tab. The reason ghosting feels so devastating is rooted in our biology. Studies using fMRI scans show that social rejection, specifically ostracism, activates the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. This is the exact same part of the brain that processes physical pain. When you are ghosted, your brain treats the situation as if you've been physically wounded. Because there is no data to process the end of the relationship, the mind enters a state of cognitive dissonance. You begin to fill in the blanks with your own insecurities, turning the ghoster's silence into a megaphone for your loudest self-critics. Human beings are biologically wired to seek closure. This is the Zeigarnik effect, a psychological phenomenon where our brains remember uncompleted tasks more vividly than completed ones. A breakup with a conversation is a completed task for the brain. Ghosting is an open loop. Because there was no finality, your brain keeps the program running in the background, wasting massive amounts of emotional energy trying to solve a puzzle that has no pieces. You aren't obsessed with the person, you are obsessed with the unfinished business. Healing from ghosting requires a shift in perspective. The silence is the closure. You have to stop being a detective of their behavior and start being the author of your own worth. When someone ghosts you, they are giving you a gift wrapped in a wound. They are showing you with absolute clarity that they lack the emotional maturity to handle the complexities of a real human connection. You didn't lose a soulmate, you lost a placeholder who couldn't stay in the room.
The closure isn't in their inbox, it's in the realization that you deserve someone who is brave enough to be seen.